Hello everyone, OSW-Sim-Sports here, back with another daily, this time on Portimao. The week has just started, so this was one of the first races in the afternoon on Portimao. We are in Split-1 of 4, and here we go for the race start. As I switch to my trademark boot cane, we get a green flag, we get a great start. As the BMW on the outside is squeezing me a bit, I give him plenty of room, and as he goes a little bit too tight into the first corner, I am on the outside, I have the speed on him, and I see all of this room on the outside, so obviously I go for it. I know the Sidoruk guy is really quick, so obviously I follow him, and as you can see, it was a great decision. We kept all of our speed, passed a whole bunch of LMPs. And look at the field, how spread it is already. We are in the midst of the LMPs, basically just jostling to stay on the track, not to lose too much time to them as they try to spread out a bit. Back on board here, as we are really close to Sidoruk, and to be honest, I was really surprised as he is just really quick, and I was really expecting him to drive away. And look at this moment, as he suddenly turns to the left, he leaves a massive gap for me to take, and obviously I take it, so there I am in the lead, from the 4th place into the lead in just one lap. So yeah, I was really surprised to now be in the first position. As you can see, the gap to Sidoruk is already 0.8, 0.9 and 1 second. So yeah, I was really surprised. I was just wondering, he maybe have damage, but I didn't think so, as he didn't have any contact. As we enjoy the wonderful sounds of Le Mans Ultimate for a bit. With the LMP2 Classes screaming in the background, and the signature Lambo V10 also roaring nicely, we try to get a gap that is, you know, safe. And as you can see, we have Borgers has now passed Sidoruk, and the gap is about 1.1 second. A lap later it's 1.9 seconds as we get passed by one of the LMPs, as he is in a hurry to get through. So the pace is looking quite good, and we are essentially just managing the gap here. As a lap later, the gap is still about 1.6 seconds, and we are still pretty much safe. And also in lap 5 the gap is still 1.6 seconds, and at this point in the race I was starting to think like, am I going to drive away and just have an easy clean race? And of course this is never the case, and once you start thinking about winning you start making mistakes and you start overdriving a little bit. And as you can see, a lap later, we are now in lap 6, the gap has come down once again to 1.2 seconds. Borgers behind me has a very nice pace, very consistent, as we are now in lap 7, as he has closed the gap to just 1 second, and I don't get a fantastic exit out of the last corner. As you will see in the delta, he will close the gap quite a little bit. You can see he is now in range of me. He doesn't really have the drag or the slipstreaming effect, but he can now follow the line and start reeling me in. So while I'm still driving a really good pace, this guy is putting quite a lot of pressure on me, and it is just about focusing, not making mistakes while driving quite high pace. And as you can see, a lap later he is really piling on the pressure, staying in my slipstream, just letting me know that if I make a mistake on an exit somewhere, he will get into my draft and just pass me essentially. So a lap later again, lap 10, I keep focusing on the exits, the gap stays about the same. At this point my tires, especially my front left tire is about 79 degrees Celsius, which is about 6 degrees too hot. It should be in the range of 70 to 90 degrees. So we are really managing the left front tire. As I go a little bit wide on the entry, and that makes me go deep on the brakes, really deep, and as I recover the car again, obviously the BMW goes through, and as I think he is a little bit surprised to be in the lead, because as you can see the corner later he instantly, I almost get a run on him, but I decide to give him a little bit of space. I'm very surprised he brakes here, but obviously he has a front engine car while I'm in the Lambo, so the Lambo is way more willing to steer in those type of corners, while his car has insane traction.
Time 1:48.04.
So yeah, now I am in P2, no problem, just time to settle in. We still have a pit stop to go and about 11 minutes of racing, so I was thinking, no problem, let's just follow this guy. Maybe he overcooks his tires, as I did as well at some point, and we can pass him again. As again, you can see the traction even if the BMW goes a little bit wide in the corner and the Lambo sneaks up on it by driving a little bit tighter line. On the exit of the corner the BMW is just so strong, and look here, exactly the same situation. You think you can close the gap a little bit, but just on the exit of the corner the BMW is actually insanely strong. As I have a little look down the inside, and as he closes the door a little bit we have contact. It wasn't obviously my intention, that was obviously my mistake. He had the corner, but you still don't want to make contact. But both have a little bit of damage, but we should be absolutely fine, we shouldn't lose any pace. So we continue racing. As you can see on the straight, I'm waving like an idiot because I'm saying sorry, as the LMP chucks it up on the inside down to T1, and I say thank you very much as I'm following, and the BMW has to go by. Now you can see I instantly go defensive because I knew he would maybe be frustrated by that a little bit, and he would try to take the place back on the first chance he would get. But I managed to keep the door closed, and we are now back in the lead. As we are very much entering the latter stages of the race, about 2 laps left, and we will go for a pit stop. And now while I have the time for a little chat, I wanted to talk about my camera choice, because this is one of the cams that is only accessible by pressing home, as it is one of the replay cams, quote unquote. Which is also the reason why I don't have a virtual mirror and I cannot use look left and look right, which is obviously like quite a bit of a disadvantage, and in some situations can even make it a little bit unsafe to have close contact battles, as I cannot really see what is happening to the guy behind, only where he is on the radar. However, especially if you are driving on a single monitor, whether it is an ultra-wide or not, this camera just gives such a good overview that I very much think it's worth using. I just really hope they fix the virtual mirror someday. As we see behind the number 2 car slows down quite a lot and he enters into the pit lane. As we still have 2 laps to go, he decides to pit to try to undercut me. I fast forward a lap because it was quite boring driving alone. But as you can see, this is the in lap before we go into the pit lane, so it's really important to keep the pace high. and which is also the reason why I'm just accepting the track limits. I still have quite enough space before I get a real penalty, so yeah, let's just use them. Try to get a good lap on the in lap. And it is exactly this camera stuff that I cannot access the virtual mirror because I want to use this camera. Stuff in the replay not working correctly. Not being able to see like lap times of a session, you know, not just one lap, but the overall lap times you did within the session. It's just all kind of minor stuff that is really starting to bother me a little bit as I'm getting more and more deeply into the game, and it leaves me feeling more and more that maybe they should have cooked on the game a little bit more, especially seeing now that if you report issues to them over the Discord, it seems to me that they are too busy fixing other stuff really to care about minor polish to the game, which is sad obviously. As I take a really tight line into the final corner of the track in order to make sure I can actually go into the pit lane without any issues. And as is tradition with my driving style, I'm on the pit limit too quickly, and you can see the LMP2s behind me closing really quickly there. And in the timing, you can see Mr. Sidoruk still has 22% fuel, but he hasn't seemed to have pitted. So he passes me about now, and from here on out he will try to do a zero stop. As we get back out of the pits, there we are, there is the BMW, and look how close behind he is. He has to go max on the brakes in order not to hit me, but I had right to space there as I was in front of him. I don't have to let him by just because I come out of the pit lane, and the LMP2 gets in between me and him. As I get the gap back up to 0.7 of a second, we see Mr. Sidoruk still on 20% fuel, and it seems like he hasn't pitted because he has such a big gap. Obviously that's what he was doing at the start of the race, it was just fuel saving. And now a lap later, Borger still close behind me, only 0.8, basically as the gap has been all race. It is at this moment just one mistake and he will go past. So it is really important to keep tight and don't make any mistakes and just bring her home. As you can see, the car starting to move a bit on the exit. The lefts have a really hard time on this track, the tires, as you know, most of the really loaded corners on the track are all left or right-handers, so the lefts get loaded a lot. As you can see, only 1 minute remaining, so as we come up to our final lap, the LMP decides to chuck it down the inside as he is number 11, and as you can see there's nobody around him. So why he would do that, I have no idea. However, I saw him just on time, lift a little bit, and I didn't lose too much time as we now enter the final lap. And on the straight, the gap to Borgers was 1 second, so I thought I had this in the bag, just chill, just bring her home, but perhaps that was a mistake. And as you can see on the Delta before we switched to this game, like I wasn't even going that slowly, but somehow he had a lot of pace in the car, and just look at how quickly he is starting to close the gap. Now he is just a few car lengths behind me, so I was really starting to look in the mirrors, thinking about actually doing defensive driving, and look how close he is. So really important to get a good exit here, to not get attacked into the next braking zone, as I am able to do so. We go to the quick left-hander uphill, we shift down as I go for a really tight line. As you can see, I keep the door firmly closed, nowhere to get past me. And I do exactly the same right here. As you can see, like I am in the middle of the road, essentially just saying, no, if you want to go through, you're gonna have to drive around the outside. And as I am in front, I am allowed to do this. I think I cut him off on the braking side. I only move once. As we get into the last corner, and I don't really get a fantastic exit, but it wasn't that bad either. And look at that. We just both accept the track limits and we absolutely go for it. And look how close he is. You can see it on the radar. Boom. And there we go. We finished in second place. And if this race had been 1 second longer, I would 100% have lost to him. Now, this was a great race. GG's to him, and I just want to say this is some great sportsmanship, and we could only wish for more people like him in sim racing. If you enjoyed that video, please like the video and perhaps subscribe if you feel like it. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.